So for today's video, I want to talk about safety tips for when you are entering and exiting your vehicle in a parking lot. So stay tuned. Now the reason for this video is, at least recently, and I say recently, it's been like the past few months, there's been a few instances in some of the surrounding towns that I live in which some older gentlemen have been caught, or at least reported, trying to talk with underage teenagers, individuals, and trying to essentially lure them out of stores. And even more recently, my wife actually had an encounter in which she caught somebody kind of following her through a store and just kind of giving her bad vibes. And so I want to kind of just talk about some parking lot safety, right? We get to a parking lot, we're exiting our vehicle, we're parking the vehicle, we're walking into a store, restaurant, whatever, and then we're walking back to our car. And this is something that a lot of people should just take note of. Obviously, we do this on a daily basis. What I'm going to say, though, it could vary depending on where you live, right? If you live in a more suburban area or out in the middle of nowhere, you're definitely going to be doing things differently than if you were to live in a more downtown city type atmosphere. You're also going to understand the demographic of your specific area better than I will. And so again, you're going to have to kind of make some of those judgment calls based off that. But the first topic, or the first section that I want to talk about, is when you were actually arriving at the parking lot and you were getting ready to park your vehicle, what should we be doing, right? So the moment you enter a parking lot, and again, you could be going to a store, restaurant, gym, it does not matter. But as you enter the parking lot, at least scan the area as you're looking for a space to park. At least scan the area, just kind of get an idea of who is in the parking lot at that time. Are there people lingering around? Are there cars that don't belong necessarily for that specific demographic? So for instance, one of the gyms that I train at is in a very high-end wealthy area. So there's a lot of high-end cars in that parking lot. So all of a sudden, if there's a beat up old car that just doesn't fit in, I'm going to make a mental note. I may not do anything. I very well may still park next to it, but I'm going to just make a mental note because based off of the demographic of that area, this vehicle does not belong. And those are just kind of some mental notes that you need to be making sure that you take note of when you are pulling into a parking spot. Now, ideally, you want to park in a well-lit and somewhat populated area, meaning that I don't want to isolate myself at the end of the parking lot, especially if it's later in the evening or at night when it's darker out and there's no lights in the area, because again, I'm leaving myself vulnerable to somebody that wants to take advantage of me, rob me, carjack me, whatever the case is. So ideally, I want to stay in a somewhat well-lit area and ideally around other people. Again, I don't necessarily need to park right up front, but I want to at least be in proximity of other people. So if something were to happen, I could try to draw the attention of nearby bystanders. Now, one of the more important things is that when you do finally find a parking spot, try to back into that parking spot if you have the means to and capability to do so. And this is for multiple reasons. Number one, it's safer to pull forward out of a parking spot than it is to back out of a parking spot, meaning that if there's pedestrians or other vehicles passing by, it's easier to see them if you're, again, pulling straight out. Big reason, though, is that in case of an emergencies, and this could be a variety of different emergencies, you can obviously pull out of a parking spot a lot faster and quicker and more effectively than backing out of a parking spot. Now, lastly, one of the things that I see a lot of videos on are what is called like slider crimes, where somebody will even be sitting in their car, their doors are unlocked, and they're just sitting on their phones or something, and somebody will sneak up next to them, open up the door, jump in, carjack them, rob them, whatever, and then get out before they even realize what happened. This also happens when you see people parking at like gas stations, right? And they're pumping up the gas, the car's unlocked, people again will sneak up, open up the car, rob them, and run away. This is typically done when we see it in parking lots because the cars are pulled into a spot. The cars will actually pull in behind them and block them from being able to get out, and it's also harder to see who's coming up behind you. But if I back into a parking spot, I got a big ass windshield that I can see everything that's going on in front of me. So it's a lot harder for somebody to sneak up on me in a parking lot when I'm looking at the general parking lot. And I also have the means to be able to get out of a situation if somebody were to try and block me in, because again, I can just ram through it with my car and it's easier for me again to pull straight out. And then I guess one other thing that you could throw in there is just kind of be wary of what type of vehicles you park next to. If it's a big van, unmarked van, or a big truck or something that blocks your view or is just giving you bad vibes, probably don't park next to it. I want to at least give myself the best visibility possible of the parking lot at all times. So section 2 is now you have actually put the car into park and we are getting ready to exit the vehicle. But the moment you do put your car in park, until you're ready to actually leave and exit the vehicle, make sure your doors remain locked. And the reason I bring this up is a lot of newer vehicles have settings that the moment you put your car in park, all the doors unlock. So if that's the case, either one, make sure that you immediately lock the door right away, or option 2, go into your car settings and change the settings to, I guess, remove that feature to where when you put the car in park, the doors will remain locked until you manually unlock them. Now, a big thing that I try and encourage people to do, especially my women, when they're in the women's self-defense classes, is before you exit the vehicle, take 10 seconds, scan the area. I know you just did this when you were kind of entering the parking lot. Now you've actually officially parked. Scan the area again, see if there's anyone that's kind of been eyeing you. Is there someone that's lingering near you? Did a vehicle pull up next to you? Is there anything or anyone that's just giving you bad vibes? And if there is, you're still in your vehicle, which means you can easily leave and you can come back at a later time. I understand that could be an inconvenience if you're there to work out or do some errands, but again, your safety is more important. Trust your gut feeling and get out of there if you need to. Now, before you actually exit the vehicle, try, if possible, to gather all of your belongings so that once you get out, you can lock the door and immediately walk into your destination rather than having to get out, go to the trunk, go to the back doors, go to the passenger side doors, and again, you're just leaving yourself vulnerable. I know that's not always going to be the case, especially if you have kids, but do your best to gather your belongings so that, again, I can exit the vehicle and I have everything I need with me right away. Now, going and caveat with that, do your business with your phone before you exit the vehicle. Now, I'm not for lingering in your car for too long, but if you need to make a phone call or send a text or something, do that while you are still in the safety of your locked vehicle rather than getting out of the car and burying yourself in your phone, which is what I see everyone in public doing these days, and then you're completely oblivious and vulnerable to what's going on around you. So do your business with your phone in the car so that, again, the moment you exit your vehicle, you can put your phone away and your head will be up, your eyes will be open, and you're paying attention to what's going on around you. So section 3, we are leaving and returning to our vehicle. So when we leave, again, once you've gathered your belongings, you got everything that you need, lock the doors right away while you are still within arm's reach of the vehicle. Don't be 10, 20 feet away and hitting the lock button, because we want to make sure that the vehicle is actually locked. So stand by the car, get everything you need, lock the doors right away, confirm that your car is locked, and then go ahead and walk into wherever it is that you are going. But again, keep your phone down, keep your head up, eyes open, head on a swivel, and just, again, be aware of your surroundings. It's really simple, but in today's times, all I see is people's heads down in their phones, again, completely oblivious to what's going on around them. So now when you are actually leaving, let's say, the store, and you're getting ready to walk back to your car through the parking lot, just do a quick little look around, just see if there is anyone that is lingering near you or someone that's kind of been eyeing you and following you around. And if there is, go back into the store, talk to an employee, notify the authorities, whatever it is that you need to do to feel safe, or whatever actions you may need to take in that situation, go ahead and do that. But again, do not just walk to your car knowing that, hey, this person's following me. Now, as you start walking to your vehicle, you also want to make sure that you are paying attention to where your car is parked and see if there is anyone lingering. Again, it's a parking lot. People are going to be coming and going the entire time. So make sure that there isn't anyone that's lingering near your vehicle. Pay attention to the cars that are now parked next to your vehicle. Again, if there's an unmarked van or a suspicious vehicle that's now sitting there and it's making you uncomfortable, you don't have to walk into your car yet. If you do so, walk with confidence and just kind of keep your head up and be prepared, because something could happen, not saying it will, but if you are uncomfortable, again, walk back into the store, talk to an employee, have someone escort you out to your vehicle if you feel unsafe, whatever the case is, but just make those smart, conscious decisions based off of what you're seeing. Have your keys ready to go before you even exit the store, or again, wherever it is that you're coming from, because I want to make sure that once I get to my vehicle, I'm not fumbling around in a bag in my pockets. I want to make sure that I can immediately unlock the door and get inside. Now, if you have a key fob, obviously you don't have to worry about this because you just have to be within range. But taking this one step further, don't unlock the car until you're within arm's reach. Again, just like we don't want to lock the car when we're too far away, I don't want to unlock it when I'm too far away. I want to make sure that I'm within arm's reach of the vehicle, so that, again, if somebody was hanging out trying to attack me or rob me as I got closer, I'm not trying to give them access to my vehicle. So make sure once I'm in arm's reach, I unlock the door, and then again, the moment I get inside my vehicle, I hit that lock button right away. Now, as we get close to our vehicle, because believe it or not, this shit still does happen, peep in the back seat, make sure that there is nobody lingering in there. Check under the car as you get closer, make sure no one's hiding under your car or lingering around in the back, hiding behind the trunk or something. Just, again, little things that we can do. Not everyone's going to have to do this. Again, it's going to depend on you and the area that you're living in, but stuff like this, believe it or not, still does happen. So there you have it. Nothing crazy. It's very simple, straightforward on just how we can be safer when we're walking to and from our vehicles in parking lots. And obviously this will apply to anywhere in which you're exiting and entering a vehicle. But again, it could very well differ for you depending on where you live and the demographics of that specific area. So if there's something that you do differently or something that you do in addition to what I had said, please let me know down in the comments. Share it for all of us so that, again, we can take the proper precautions and make sure that ourselves and our loved ones are safe as always. So other than that, I'll see you in the next video. Stay safe.